Hi, welcome back for the second session on the instance-based learning, reinforcement learning and evaluating hypothesis. This is a fifth module that already the session 1 we have seen. Now this is the second session. This is a machine learning subject as a part of the 7th semester subject. These are the some of the contents that we are going to check in today's session. Locally weighted regression, and we'll see some radial basis functions. We are going to take one example that is called the RBF network. Okay, and then we want to see some of the case based reasoning. The nearest neighboring approaches which have been described in the previous sections, they can be thought of approximating the target function, that is f of x at the single query point x equal to x cube. Now local weighted regression is actually generalization of the approach what we have seen, that is the KNN. In the first session we have seen. Now in this, the locally weighted regression, it actually constructs an explicit approximation to a function f over a local region surrounding x cube. Okay, so this locally weighted regression, it uses nearby or the distance weighted training examples to form this local approximation for the f here. For example, we might approximate the target function in the neighborhood which is surrounding the x cube using a linear function, okay, and a quadratic function or a multi-layer neural network, or sometimes the other functional forms. So the actually the phrase, if you see here, the locally weighted regression, okay, it is called local because the function is approximated based only on data near the query point, and it is called weighted because the contribution of each training example is actually weighted by its distance from the query point. Regression is because this is the term used widely in the statistical learning community for the problem of approximating the real valued functions. Okay, so given all this new query instance xq, the general approach that the locally weighted regression is that it is to construct an approximation that is f cap, okay, which fits the training examples in the neighborhood surrounding xq. So this approximation, which is then used to calculate the value of f cap of xq, which is actually the output of the estimated target value for the new query instance that has to be classified. So the description of f cap might be later deleted because a different local approximation will be calculated for each distinct query instance. Okay, so these are some of the introduction to the locally weighted regression. So you need to understand the terms why it is called as local, why weighted, and why regression. So it is clear by looking at the definition. So now we'll see actually the algorithm now. Okay, so for that, let us consider the one case of locally weighted locally weighted regression, in which we assume that the target function f is actually it is approximated near xq, and this can be approximated by using the linear function of this form: f cap of x cube, f cap of x equals to w0 plus w1 a1 of x plus and so on until n. Okay, so as before, now in this case ai of x actually denotes the value of the ith attribute of the instance x. Okay, and then we actually we derive the methods. So if you look at the formulas here, so actually how shall we modify this procedure, the gradient descent in case of linear regression? It is to derive the local approximation than the global one, but the simple way is that it is to redefine the error criterion E, okay, to emphasize fitting the local training examples. So if you have this situation, there are actually three possible criteria have been given. Okay, actually we write the error E of xq to emphasize the fact that now the error is being defined as a function of the query point xq. Now as I said, there are three criteria for redefining the E, that is the squared error. So first is minimize the squared error over just the k nearest neighbors. That is, how do we calculate? E1 of xq is almost equivalent to 1 by 2 of summation of f of x minus f cap of x the whole square, where x belongs to k nearest neighbors of xq. Let's consider this as equation 1. And then the second criteria is we minimize this squared error over the entire set D of training examples while weighing the error of each training example by some decreasing function k of its distance from the xq. Okay, so that is E1 is this one, and E2 is, which is almost equivalent to, okay, f of x minus f cap of x the whole square into k of d of xq comma x, where x belongs to the set of training examples. Now let's combine these two, equation 1 and equation 2, that gives us the E3 of xq, which is almost equivalent to 1 by 2 of a summation of f of x minus f cap of x the whole square, k of d of xq comma x. Now this x, the summation has been taken where x belongs to the k nearest neighbors of xq. Instead of the entire set of the training examples, we can consider only the k nearest neighbors of the new training instance xq. Suppose if we choose there are actually two criteria are there. The most we say that aesthetically pleasing, because it allows every training examples to have an impact on the classification of xq. However, this approach, okay, this approach what we have seen just now, it requires some computation which grows linearly with the as you increase the number of training examples. So, and especially the criteria 3, it is a good approximation to criteria 2, and has the advantage that the computational cost, if you look at the formula itself, the computational cost is independent of the total number of training examples. So it's actually, its cost depends only on the number of k neighbors considered instead of the entire set of training examples. Now if we choose the criteria 3 above, and we can rederive the gradient descent rule using the same style of the arguments what we have seen in case of the deriving the equations for the gradient descent. So we actually obtain this rule, okay, eta is the learning rate summation of, okay, summation over x belongs to knn of xq. Xq is a nearest neighbor, so k of d of xq comma x, okay, f of x minus f cap of x into aj of x. So you can notice only the difference between this new rule and the rule given in the previous, that is equation 3, is that the contribution of instance x to the weight update is now actually multiplied by the distance penalty, that is k of d of xq comma x, and that the error is summed over only the k nearest neighbor, k nearest training examples. So in fact, if we are fitting the linear function to a fixed set of training examples, then such methods are much more efficient than the gradient descents that are available to directly solve for the desired coefficients like w0 to wn. Okay, so this is the difference that we have. Okay, some of the remarks on the locally weighted regressions that we can have is, for example, the above what we have considered the linear function to approximate f in the neighborhood of the query instance xq. There are some literature survey has been happened. The one of the literature, it contains a broad range of alternative methods for the distance weighting the training examples, and a range of the methods for locally approximating the target functions have been specified. So in all of these, or in most of the cases, the target function is approximated by actually a constant, a linear, or a quadratic functions. Okay, so more complex functional forms are not found because of two reasons. The first reason is the cost of fitting more complex functions for each query instance is actually prohibitively high, and the second the reason is that these simple approximations model the target function quite well over a sufficiently small subregion of the instance space. So these are some of the remarks that we can have on the locally weighted regression. Hope the locally weighted regression is clear to you. It is very important with respect to the examination. So next, let's check on the radial basis functions. Okay, one of the approach to function approximation that is closely related to the distance weighted regression is, and also the ANN learning is with the radial basis functions. Okay, so this is been actually used for the ANNs. Okay, and using the distance vector. Okay, so in this case, actually we write the learned hypothesis in the form of a function as f cap of x equal to w naught plus summation over u equals to 1 to k wu qu of d of xu comma x. And if you consider in this case, each xq is an instance from the x, and where the kernel function ku of d of xu comma x is defined so that it decreases as the distance d of xu comma x increases. Now in this case, the k is actually, it is been provided, user provided constant, and specifies the number of kernel functions to be included. So though the f cap of x is actually a global approximation to f of x, the contribution from each of the kernel function, that is ku of d of xu comma x terms, is localized to a region nearby the point xu. Okay, and it is actually common to choose each function ku of d of xu comma x, it is to be a Gaussian function which is centered at the point xu with some variance, that is the variance delta u square. Okay, delta u square. Now in this case, the function given here, okay, it can be viewed as, but it can be viewed as describing a two-layer network where the first layer of units computes the value of the various kernels values, and where the second layer actually it computes the linear combination of the first layer units. Okay, so actually the one of the example has been given here. It is a radial basis function network. Let's check that. Given a set of the training examples of the target function, the RBF network, we call it as the radial basis function networks, are typically trained in a two-stage process. Okay, first stage is that the number k of hidden units is determined, and each of the hidden unit that is being noted as the u is defined by choosing the values of xu and sigma u square, which defines its kernel function. And the second process is that the weights wu are trained to maximize the fit of the network to the training data using the global error criterion. Okay, so because the kernel functions are held fixed during this second stage, the linear weight values WU can be they can be trained very efficiently here. So one of the diagram here it is given. This is the network. Okay, this is an example of the radial basis. Okay, this example is a radial basis function network. Okay, the function we call it as a RBF network. In this case, each hidden unit it produces an activation which has been determined by the Gaussian function, which is centered at the some instance xu. So therefore its activation function will be close to the 0 unless that the input x is very near to the xu. The output unit it produces a linear combination of the hidden unit activations. So although the network shown here it is just has one output, if you see here, so it has got just only one output. Multiple output units can also be included. As just for a study purpose, only one output unit has been included, but you can have the multiple units also. Okay, so and if we there are actually several alternative methods have been proposed for the choosing an appropriate number of hidden units or equivalently the kernel functions. One approach is that it is to allocate a Gaussian kernel function for each of the training examples xi, f of xi. They are centering this Gaussian at the point xi, and each of these kernels they then be assigned the same width sigma square, and with this approach the RBF network learns a global approximation to the target function in which the each training example is of form, that is xi, f of xi can influence the value of f cap only in the neighborhood of the xi. When you have this approach, one of the advantage is that the choice of a kernel function using the choice of a kernel function advantage is that it allows the RBF network to fit the training data exactly. So that is for any set of training m training examples, the weights W0 to Wm for combining the m Gaussian kernel functions can be set so that f cap of xi is equals to f of xi for each training example xi, f of xi. So this is on the radial basis functions. The important one is the network that you need to consider. That is called as the RBF network. So let's move on to the next topic, that is on the case based reasoning. So case in the instance based methods, what we have seen, that is the k nearest neighbor and the locally weighted regression, they share actually three key properties. Okay, there are three key properties are there. So the first is that they are lazy learning methods, because that because they defer the decision of how to generalize beyond the training data until a new query instance is actually observed. And the second the key property is that they classify the new query instance, that is a new training example, by analyzing the similar instances while ignoring the instances that are very different from the third. Suppose if some of the training examples they are different from the new instances, they just ignore it. They don't consider in them in analyzing for the classification of the new training instance. And the third is that they represent the instances as the real valued points in an n-dimensional Euclidean space. This case based reasoning, it is in short we call it as a CBR. It is a learning paradigm based on the first two of these properties, but actually not the third one. Okay, in CBR the instances are typically represented using the much symbolic descriptions. Okay, and the methods used to retrieve similar instances are correspondingly they are more elaborate. Okay, the case-based learning algorithms, they are actually being applied, okay, in the case of the design of mechanical devices based on a stored library of the previous designs, for reasoning about new legal cases based on the previous rulings, and they can be used in solving, planning, and scheduling the problems by reusing and combining portions of the previous solutions to the similar problems. Okay, and one of the prototypical example of a case-based reasoning system is, okay, it is actually for the for our discussion, that is the cadet system. Okay, we call it as the cadet system. It employs a case-based reasoning to assist in the conceptual design of a simple mechanical devices, that is the water faucets, such as the water faucets. So it actually uses a library containing approximately 75 previous designs and design fragments to suggest the conceptual designs to meet the specification of the new design problems. Already the 75 previous designs are there, okay, and there are various design fragments are there. So our the cadet system, which is based on the case based reasoning, it helps us to specify the specifications for the new design problems. So in this case, what they actually do here is, each of the instance stored in a memory. Okay, for example, a water pipe is being represented by describing both its structure and its qualitative function. New design problems, which are then presented by specifying the desired function and requesting for the corresponding structure. Okay, so this is actually shown here. Okay, the top half of the figure. Okay, this figure, the stored case, that is a T junction, what we have, okay, the top half of the figure, it shows actually the description of a typical stored case, okay, which we call it as a T junction pipe. So its function is represented in terms of the qualitative relationships among the water flow levels and the temperature at its inputs and the outputs. And in the functional description, so this is actually the structure, okay, which contains of temperature and the water flow in the water pipe. And as a function, if you look at this on the right, okay, the plus in the label indicates that the variable at the arrowhead increases with the variable at, okay, it's a fail. For example, the output flow, if okay, for example, the output water flow Q3 increases with increase in the input water flow Q1, and similarly label minus, okay, label indicates that the variable at the head decreases, okay, the variable at the head decreases with the variable at the tail. Okay, and the bottom half of the figure, it depicts a new design problem described by its desired function. Okay, it is on the water faucet, and we don't know what is the structure. Okay, so it's a function, this particular function describes the required behavior of one type of the water faucets. So now in this case here, the QC refers to the flow of cold water into the faucet, and QH represents the input flow of the hot water, and QM to the single mixed flow out of the faucet. QM consists of both QC and QH and mixed water respectively. Okay, so similarly we can have TC, TH and TM. They refer to the temperatures of cold water, hot water, and the mixed water respectively. Okay, so now the variable CI denotes the control signal for temperature that is input to the faucet. Okay, and CF denotes the control signal for the water flow. Now in this case, you can note the description of the desired function. It specifies that these controls CT and CF are to influence the water flows QC and QH. So thereby they indirectly influence the faucet output flow QM and the temperature T. So when you have this specifications, okay, for the new design problem, the cadet system, what it does is it searches its library for the stored cases whose functional descriptions match the design problem. So the problem has been designed, the cadet system in its memory checks for already stored cases. If an exact match, suppose if it is found, indicating that the some stored case implements exactly the desired function, then this case is returned as a suggested solution for the new design problem. If no exact match occurs, the cadet may find the cases that match various subgraphs of the desired functional specifications. For example, if you look at in the T-junction function, it matches the subgraph of the water faucet function graph. So generally the cadet what does is it searches for the subgraph isomorphisms between the two function graphs, so that the parts of a case can be found to match parts of the design specifications. And furthermore, the system may elaborate the original function specification graph in order to create functionally equivalent graphs that may match still more cases. And it uses the general knowledge about the physical influences to create these elaborated function graphs here. Okay, so by retrieving multiple cases that match the different subgraphs, the entire design can sometimes be pieced together. Okay, so in general the process of producing a final solution from multiple retrieved cases can be very complex here. So this is one of the problem that has been introduced. Okay, in this session the cadet system is very important. So remaining topics let's check in the third session. Thank you.